By the way, if it seems like I'm speaking kind of low, it's because it's super early in the morning and everybody else in the house is asleep. It's actually kind of cozy right now. It's rainy here in Kentucky about 7:30 a.m. I just got off work. Um, there is some things on the channel, some updates that I figured I'd tell you all about. Um, for one, I'm going to kind of clean the channel up because the channel started basically was honestly it started off as a book review channel and then kind of turned into a conspiracy channel to some of it hiking. It's honestly just kind of spread out. So the channel name is Abe Williams. Um, I'm actually going to keep it that because I tried on YouTube earlier, tried to like change the name of the channel. But at the same time, thinking about it now, I don't really want to do that because, yes, like I've said in previous videos, I'm going to focus more on podcasts now and putting out podcasts, but I feel that I don't want to do only just podcasts. There's still going to be travel videos and actual videos here and there where I need to actually like show you things. You know what I'm saying? Vlogging and stuff like that. So I don't want to limit the channel is what I'm saying. Uh-oh, what does this mean? We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully it's still recording.
Connection error. Connection. Oh, just exit.
Exit out. It's alright.
Mhm.
Alright, sorry about that. A little bit of technical difficulties. But yeah, I honestly, I'm just trying to straighten the channel up a little better, make it a little more official, like just make the channel better in general. So where it was my personal use channel and my channel that I was putting stuff out on, I'm actually going to delete all of the playlist and go ahead and remake playlist of different aspects of the channel. Like I'm going to have a cooking playlist with all my cooking videos. I'm going to have a podcast playlist. So like if you're at work and you can listen to podcast or whatever, you can just click the playlist and it'll play through however many podcasts are on there. But it's all going to be only this channel. Like if you went on my channel right now, if I haven't cleaned it out yet and you've heard this before, you'll see like all my personal videos on there of other people's videos and stuff, which I don't care. It's open to the public, but I don't know. Just trying to clean the channel up a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna have opening music of probably my brother's music.orbix because my other videos that I've put any form of music from other artists, it's all been demonetized. And I only have 100 subscribers right now, so it's not like I'm monetized at all, which doesn't bother me. But just in case I do get up to 1,000 subscribers, who knows, I would like to keep the videos monetized so I can at least bring in a little bit of money and make the channel even better. You know, if I make money off the channel, it's going towards the channel. So if anything, it just makes the content better. But that's about it as far as like updates on the channel. As far as my personal life, I'm just working and I'm stocking at night. I kind of like it because I just listen to podcasts all night, listen to conspiracy shit. I have a shit ton of podcast ideas. We are lacking internet right now, so if you see literally like 5 or 6 podcasts posted in one day, it's because we're all backed up on it. So we're just dealing with the coronavirus right now and waiting for the libraries to be open again. So that way we can download you know, the podcast. But that's about it. Um, I wanted to actually make a video on rape culture. It's not a conspiracy or nothing. It's actually just something, a word that's been thrown around a lot, especially from social justice warriors. And I actually got two stories, two personal stories um, of. I just don't really like the word rape being used so fluently. Like, especially you could type in social justice warrior fail video compilations or whatever, and you see it all the time of a man just. It's just craziness out there. Like a man looking at a woman and her just going off saying, he raped me, he's raping me, or I'm sure you all have seen it. So I talked to my wife about it and told her I wanted to make a video on it. And she said she's cool with it, but um, it's about like an ex-girlfriend, and there's another one, an incident that happened earlier this year um, that consists of the word rape being thrown around. And the same with my ex-girlfriend. It's two incidences of the word rape being thrown around with nothing really to back it up, and honestly, it irritates me. And I'll tell you why it irritates me when I get to the second story. Because I feel like with YouTube, I walk on eggshells. Um, but yeah, so I dated this girl before I met my wife. Um, I'm not gonna tell like her last name or anything, or we'll just call her uh, Danny. There you go. We'll call her Danny. So I dated this girl Danny before I met my wife. Um, and here's the crazy thing: like, I'm not the type to pretty much like steal another man's woman. I think that's probably one of the shittiest things you could do. I've had it happen to me multiple times in previous relationships. I've been cheated on like two or three times, and it's kind of irritating. Um, I don't know. It's just like one of the worst things you could do to someone. But basically, I walked into a restaurant that Danny was working at, and I pretty much just handed her my number to her friend and was like, "Hey, give this to that girl wiping tables. She's cute." And I wasn't sure how old she was. I mean, she was 18. I wasn't sure how young or old she was. I knew she was of legal age. Um, but yeah, I gave her my number, and next thing I know, probably like a day or two later, I get a call. Or not a call, a text. Saying, hey, and I'm like, who's this? She's like, oh, this is Danny um, from the pizza restaurant. My friend gave me your number. And I was like, okay, cool. Uh, Pretty much, I was just like, hey, just honestly, I'm single and wanted to know if you were single. And this is how it starts. And it's real sneaky the way that I went down this slippery slope. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm not trying to make myself out to be like a saint over here, but I was very deceived into basically ruining some dude's life. Sadly, because of this conniving girl. Um, but pretty much, she responded, well, I got a boyfriend, but not for long. I said, okay. She's like, we just been on the rocks lately. Um, I don't really want to get into it, but we could be friends. And I was just like, I didn't want to be mean, but and be like, because honestly, man, I'm at the time I think I was like 25, 24 or 25, and I was like, yeah, I don't need a 18-year-old high school girl as a friend. But I was just like, okay. And I just left it at that and didn't talk to her for like a week later. She texted me back a week later. Something like that. Week and a half. She's like, hey. And I'm like, what's up? And uh, I was like, look, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I don't really need friends. And honestly, I don't know you. Um, I said basically the nicest way that I was just honestly interested in just going out on a date or something, seeing where it goes from there. And I was like, and by the way, like, are you still with this dude, this boyfriend? And she's like, yeah, I'm still with him. I haven't broke up with him, but I want to. And I was like, just curious, like, what happened? And she said, well, he raped me. And I'm like, well, fuck, man, like, that's fucked up. Like, you need to break up with him. That, or I was just like, why haven't you reported this? Why isn't he in fucking, like, prison right now? She didn't really go into a lot of detail. So now, in my mind, the whole hero ego comes out. That, oh, I gotta be a hero. Fuck this dude. He's a rapist. I don't give a fuck about this dude. I'm just gonna steal his girl. And I don't feel guilty about doing it because the dude raped her. You know? That's what, as far as my knowledge, happened. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go out. I said, I said we'll go out as friends on a date. Just friends. And we can sit and talk about whatever, just hang out. So I met her at a Walmart, met her mom and shit, and I took her back to my house. And we just honestly hung out. She was looking for another job because, well, I can go ahead and tell you this information because it doesn't matter. It's shut down now. But she was working at Cece's Pizza. And the Cece's Pizza that she was working at was literally in the process of shutting down. So I was like, well, um, I I'm so glad she didn't get the job interview, by the way. But I was like, I can give you an application to Beaumont Inn, the restaurant that I'm working at. Which, by the way, here's a little side note: Beaumont Inn. I'm going to do a podcast episode on Beaumont Inn. Um, just because there's a shit ton of different ghost stuff that happened there. Um, it's probably like a good 30-minute, 45, maybe an hour long podcast that's a bunch of paranormal shit happened there. And the reason why I didn't put it out earlier is because I was employed there, so I didn't want to put it out and then one of my coworkers be like, "Hey, put out a video on Beaumont Inn," and then I get fired, which I ended up getting fired from the place anyways. But okay, so I was basically saying, well, come over. I'll get a job application from work. You can come over and fill it out, and we can just sit down and chill and talk. So she came over on the way to driving. After I picked her up from Walmart, we were driving to my apartment, and I didn't give a shit. I mean, I just reached over and held her hand because, as far as I knew, this dude had raped her. Um, So I took her back to the apartment. She's filling out the job application, and I'm just kind of talking with her. And she's like, well, I really like you, you know. I really want to be more than friends. Like, I don't know, but I'm stuck in the middle. And I'm like, well, I said, honestly, I don't see what the problem is. Honestly, as bad as this sounds, me being the side dude, because I felt bad for her because I thought she was raped. I wanted to get her out of that situation. Um, I wanted to kill the dude. I wanted to murder this man. But so anyways, I basically became the side dude. I don't think this girl was all there in the head. I know she was on medication. She had like a lot of mental issues, and I kind of just dealt with it. Like she snapped on me on several occasions, and I almost broke up with her then and there because it was over like the stupidest shit. I remember one time, like, we were watching a movie at her dad's and he fell asleep and she legit, like, punched him and to make him get up and watch the movie with her. Some stupid fucking Guardians of the Galaxy, man. Worst night of my fucking life. That's a whole other story I won't get into. So I think this girl had, like, mental problems. And I'm not making fun of the mentally ill. I mean, everybody's got some form of mental problems, I believe, honestly. Believe everyone's a little bit crazy in a way. But so yeah, the more and more as this went on of me dating this girl, basically to kind of sum it up, it went from, well, he raped me, to, oh, he didn't really rape me, he molested me. And I was like, okay. When I first heard that, I was like, well, she didn't go into detail. She just used the hard R word, rape. I was like, but rape and molestation, yes, they're different, but honestly, they're just as fucked up. You know, I see no difference in the crime. To me, it's just as bad. It's just as horrible. So it went from that to rape to molestation, and then after a little bit of time, it went from that, because honestly, what was triggering that it getting brought up was, we had dated for months, and it got to the point like she wasn't giving out, and she wasn't. Like I said, this is kind of mature material, so I'm gonna go into a little bit of detail without getting raunchy. But she wasn't doing nothing, like no handies, no oral, nothing. Zero, zip, nada. Like kiss and hug, that's it. Um, so after like several months, I'm like, hey man, can I? You're not even like at least hooking me up with hand stuff. I don't think that's too much to ask. And it went basically me getting kind of irritated with it, with that, and I don't know. It kept getting brought up, like it went from molestation, it went from rape to molestation, then it went from molestation to basically, well, he didn't really like actually penetrate me with his hand. He just would try to stick his hand down my pants. And that's where I got real irritated, because like I'm not saying that's right. Like for a dude to, like, hey, if you're a dude, you're dating a girl, you try to do it, she slaps your hand, says no, obviously don't try to do that again, you know? Um, but that is like a complete different difference than this dude, this horrible mental image that I had in my head from what she said, using the word rape, of someone straight up doing the horrible act of rape. I don't need to go into detail to give you that visual. Um, and I think a lot to do with it. And I don't care. This video might get removed for hate speech or whatever. I really don't give a damn. But the girl was a social justice warrior. She was what she called a feminist. And honestly, my wife can back me up too, you know. And I'm sure I'll get some social justice warrior in the comment section, or some modern day feminist, saying, well, your wife's brainwashed, blah, blah, blah. No, honestly, Here's my opinion on feminism. I believe that it started out as a good thing back in the day, um, but now it's not about equality anymore. It's about pretty much like if you're a white male, specific in general, definitely if you're a white male, you're like the devil. They don't believe, they don't want equality. They want to be above man. And it's like they feel like they have to get back at men, um, instead of being equal. To me, like, it's not equality. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, we have to get back at them for all these years of suppression and all that jazz. Um, but yeah, basically, here's like a little funny part of we were making out one night, and um, I took her shirt off and she had straight up like hairy ass armpits. Honestly, like the whole free bleeding on your period where you're just gushing blood all over your pants in public, the armpit hair, it's fucking disgusting. And honestly, I told her that's fucking gross, man. I don't care if you're a feminist, but like I shave more than you. That's not good. I don't know, call me a metrosexual, but I like to be clean for my lover. Um, there you go. But yeah, and then like he was shoving his hand down her pants, and prom was coming up. She was still in high school. Prom was coming up, and she was originally going to take this boy. She had broke up with him finally, um, and she was gonna take this boy to prom. And she's like, "Do you want to come to prom with me?" And I'm like, no. Like, I'm 25 years old. I'm not about to hang out at a prom with a bunch of high schoolers. Like, that's fucking weird. It'd be super uncomfortable. All the teachers would be like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" You know what I'm saying? This story has changed like 3 times already. And I said, I want the full blown fucking truth. What happened with this dude? First, you told me he raped you. Then you told me he molested you. Then you told me he didn't really actually penetrate you with his hands, that he just kept trying to shove his hand down your pants. And she said, "All right, well, I'll tell you the truth. He didn't do any of that. He was just pressuring me for sex all the time. Kind of like how you do." And I'm like, first of all, don't get fucking smart. We've been dating for like 4 months now. I've done spent like 300 or $400 on you because I was bartending at the time making bank. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pressure you every now and then. I'm gonna ask for some poo-tang. You know what I'm saying? I put $400 into this, 4 months into this, and you know, you can't even give an HJ. Um, but yeah, so I broke up with the girl. I just got tired of it, for all those reasons I just stated. But the moral of the story is she threw around the R word, man, the rape word, like way too fucking easy, and it pisses me off because there's actual real fucking victims out there who have went through that horrible act, or that horrible experience, I should say, that have to deal with that for the rest of their life. People who have to live with that, years of therapy or pharmaceutical medication to deal with it. It honestly affects their sex lives. It affects their marriages. It screws people up. You know, people come out with PTSD and shit. And I don't fucking blame them. I mean, I can't fathom. And it does happen to guys too. You know, it happens to men in prisons and jails and shit. So I mean, I can't fucking fathom, you know, if it happened to me. I can't. I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. So that's one example that bothered me. Um, did that make you uncomfortable hearing any of that?
No.
Okay. I knew you said I could make a video on it.
And
I was trying to do it without like cucking you. You know what I'm saying?
you've already told me this story before, so
Yeah.
it don't bother me because I'm in agreement with you anyway that she was not using correct words to explain how she felt.
Right.
She was making herself more of a victim than she really was. If you don't want to have sex with someone, then just straight up say, I don't want to have sex with you. But don't go telling other people at the same time that, oh, they were raping me when you just felt like you were being pressured into something you didn't want to do yet.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not right. You just say, yeah, I'm feeling pressured by you. I'm not liking it. And
Yeah.
that's what you tell other people. Yeah, they were pressuring me and I didn't like it.
Now, like, what you were saying, what you just said, I like the point of what you just said. That she was making herself into more of a victim than she actually was. I feel like, especially with the social justice movement, that is one thing that they have brainwashed the social justice warriors into believing, the victim mentality, that everyone's a victim. You know,
Yeah.
um, unless you're white and a male. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, the second one I was gonna tell him was honestly the whole Tina thing and her hitting you up on Facebook. You know, honey.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think I said her name,
Yeah, you
but oops. But anyways, the second story that I was gonna tell y'all was another crazy thing that happened to me earlier this year.
We did not say her name.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. The second thing that happened was something that happened earlier this year that I honestly wanted to make a video on it without actually saying who it was. Which we can edit that out, that little slip.
Yeah.
But I'll just use the name Trina. Like Katrina, but short. We'll just use that name. But my mom, let's see, where do I start? So there's this lady that I felt bad for. She's an older lady, um, that she had skin cancer. She was sick. She wasn't doing too good, and my mom had went on a trip, so she was going to watch my kid while I went to work and shit. And she didn't drive. She didn't have a car. She just took a bus, you know, here to Kentucky. And I was like, you know, hey, why don't you just stay at the apartment and um, you can just watch the kid, you know. She's while I'm at work, it would just be easier since you have no vehicle. It'd save me from driving one town to the other twice a day. It would just be easier in general. And she's like, okay, you know. And she'd been a friend for years since I was a kid. I've known this woman. But she has a drinking problem. And I'm not judging because I've opened up in previous videos and, you know, I'm an open book. I don't really hide shit. I've got a couple skeletons in my closet which will never be mentioned on this channel, but everyone has skeletons, you know? Nothing too bad, you know? I'm not involved in Illuminati Pizzagate or nothing. So don't worry about that. Um, but yeah, so I mean, everyone's got some skeletons and shit. So I'm not bashing the woman for being an alcoholic because I'm in recovery. You know, I could slip up tomorrow and be a fucking drunk as a skunk. Is it likely? No. It's highly unlikely at this point in the game. This is the longest I've been sober, and but you never know. That's why they say, one day at a time, because you never know what tomorrow is going to be like. So I'm not judging the woman because I have been blackout drunk to the point I've said stupid things. Fuck, I've put up videos and then had to delete them like the next day because I watch it and I'm like, what the fuck? Why did I say that? I was sloppy. I was pissy, angsty in the video. And I was like, man, I don't need my fucking subs to see this shitty, drunk side of me, you know? Um, I mean, it wouldn't happen all the time, but it was enough to where when I had to delete probably about five videos where I'd just been too sloshed. I shouldn't have been filming. I did it. I put it on the fucking YouTube, and the next day I'm like, nope, that's getting deleted. And thank God most of those videos only had like 3 views at the time, and didn't explode into something huge. But yeah. So she has a drinking problem. She's had incidents in her past where she's had an arrest. I'm not judging. I've had an arrest, but she likes. Okay, you got different types of drunks. Everyone knows that. You've got like the sleepy drunk. You've got the happy drunk. You have the angry, abusive drunk, whether it be verbal, physical, both, mental. You have, there's different types of drunks. You have the weeping drunk, the one that cries. And then you have this rare breed of drunk, which I have been this rare breed on probably, honestly, thank God, only like 3 or 4 times I've actually been this rare breed. It's called the drunk dialer. And if anyone knows anything about the drunk dialer, it's the person who gets super smashed, and it's usually like older people because your tolerance drops for alcohol the older you get. You actually black out more. And what you end up doing is because where you're older, you don't work, you're bored, you start calling people. And um, she was a drunk dialer. And it wasn't even just drunk dialing, because back in like the 90s and 80s, and from the 90s and before, we didn't really have internet. So the worst that you could do was drunk dial. Now, this day and age, we have fucking Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So it's like 10 times fucking worse. Like, there is no hiding your alcoholism in this modern day and age. So she was a drunk dialer, which actually we need to come up with a new term for that. Drunk social media? Mediast? I wouldn't even know what you'd call it. So she's called my mom on several occasions, ranting or shit like that. But she had stayed with me. She had made advances at me. She wrote this big long ass note saying how she wanted me and shit. Um, and honestly, at the time I was single. I felt bad for her because in my mind she's an older woman. She wasn't doing well. She had cancer. I mean, to be quite frank and not to be mean and belittle the person, but if she would have made the move, I would have given her a what guys call a pity fuck. And the only reason why is because I was this woman. I didn't expect her to get better. Her cancer kept getting worse. It kept coming back. I figured this chick was gonna die, like within the next couple years, And I'm single. At the time, I was single. I didn't see what was wrong with me providing that urge for her. You know, if I was single and I'm dying on my deathbed or whatever, or I feel, or I'm gonna die within the next couple of years, somebody better be giving me some pity fuck. You know, just saying. So she had like said it, but she had never actually physically made the move. Like, never just been like, "Hey, let's do this shit," because I would have been down, or or actually physically made the move. She never did that. So she left like pissed off because I never made the move, but I wasn't attracted to her. I mean, if she had been 20 something years old at the time and smoking hot, then I probably would have honestly jumped her bones in 2 seconds. She stayed for like a week. I would have been banging the dog shit out of her. Pardon my French, but um, I just wasn't attracted to her. I would have provided the pity fuck, but I wasn't gonna make the move because I wasn't attracted to her like in any way. I mean, this was an older lady, a family friend. I looked at her as like honestly like an aunt. As weird as that sounds. Um, but yeah, so the day she left, she was like in a pissed off fucking mood, and she left mad. But then she hit me up. At the time, I had Facebook. Yes, I was a fool. I had Facebook once upon a time. Um, but at the time, I had Facebook. So she started hitting me up on Facebook, trying to buy me a guitar, trying to buy me shit. Like, I'm talking like a $300-400 guitar. And all I had done was stayed up and drank beer with her one night and mentioned, like, hey, I would like to learn how to play guitar. So, like, she remembered shit like that and was straight up trying to buy me like $400 or $500 guitar. And I'm like, no, dude, like, not only did I not perform the deed for you, so you made me feel like shit, leaving pissed off at me. You know, uh, now you're trying to put me in your pocket financially, like owe you something. I'm like, fuck, man, no. Now you're making me feel like a cheap whore. You're paying for it. Um, but yeah, so basically, the week that she had stayed, I was still drinking then. I was drinking heavy then. And we would stay up and drink beer all night till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and watch music videos or sit there and talk. She would read my books during the day because I have a dope ass library. I'm doing a little bit of bragging. My library is fucking dope. But so she would like we'd talk about ghosts or aliens or religion or auras, witchcraft, like all the shit that I like to talk about. Hence the name Conspiracy Corner. Um, but yeah, so the conversation came up about my father, and I'm gonna be real careful. I'm gonna walk on eggshells on this one. I mean, super super careful on what I say about it because my father victimized um, children sexually, and he's in prison 80 years to life. Like he will die in prison. And I've never shared this before, um, but it's important to the story. And we were talking about him one night, and she asked me, did he do anything to you? Did he rape you? And I told her, I said no. Um, she said, you can be honest with me, like you don't have to be ashamed. And this is one thing that um, I'm honestly, it's ignorance for me. Um, I'm not. Let's. How do I say this without offending anyone who is a victim? I don't understand why the victims feel ashamed for being raped. Um, I just don't get it because it's not your fault. It happened to you. You know, it forcefully happened to you. It's out of your control. I'll never be able to understand why a victim of rape feels bad for being raped, or not bad for it, but ashamed of it. I just don't understand it. And I explained that to her, like, look, if I was raped, I would have no problem being like, yeah, the motherfucker's a piece of shit. He raped me and my brother, you know. And she's like, well, did he molest you? I said, no. I said, honestly, the closest, weirdest thing, and it's honestly, in my mind, it's not even fucking weird, was when we were younger, we took showers with him. Um, but honestly, I mean, times are changing. I don't know if that's weird now, but we're fucking poor family of six. My dad was the only one that worked, you know. Uh, I get it, you know, saving money on water. And we were young as could be. We all just jumped in. You know, if we were working, helping him work and shit, he'd be like, come on, let's take a shower. We take a shower. That's it. He didn't fucking, he didn't fucking molest me or nothing. It was nothing weird. Um, but I told her, you know, I said, that was the weirdest thing. I said, that happened. And honestly, I wouldn't be ashamed. I said, if he did something, I would tell you. And this was after, uh, I can't remember. This was when he was accused of doing stuff to kids, but no one had proven it yet. Um, so it was during that time period. There was lots of accusations going up against him. Um, my mom had made accusations. Me, I'm the type of person. I'm a skeptic. Yes, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I love conspiracies, but just because I'm a fan of conspiracy theorists, it doesn't mean that I automatically believe everything I hear. I try to be skeptical. And so, yeah, basically, uh, I was like, you know, my mom, especially, she basically was like saying, thinking that, like, I think she assumed that I was standing up for my dad. Like, at the time, I still loved him. I didn't like him, but I still loved him. And I tried to explain that to her, like, this was before he got caught for what he did. I was like, look, he never did nothing to me, because she would even drill me and ask me questions, just like this Trina chick. Um, like, hey, did he do anything to you? And I'm like, no, man, like, quit asking. Like, it's bothering me and it's making me feel weird because it's like, it's almost like you keep asking me the same question if you ever did anything to me. It's like you want him to, so that way you can have like a one over on him. Like, this, you know, I know what you did to our kids, you piece of shit. Like, the dude physically abused us. Was that not good enough, you know? Like, you're divorced to the man. It's the past. Fuck it, man. You know, leave it be. I don't hate the man. She's like, well, you know, this brother hates him. You know, I don't understand why you and this brother still talk to him. I said, because he's my dad. I still love him. And this is before finding out what he did. Um, but yeah, so years go by. My dad gets thrown in prison. It comes out in the open what he did. He victimized children. I'm not going into details on the victims, obviously. Um, but yeah, Trina, sorry, fucking comes out just randomly. And I know she was drinking because she's done it a billion times. Like I said earlier before, that she's a drunk dialer. She finds my wife on Facebook somehow and goes off on my wife and says, you and Abe need marriage counseling. He needs therapy. This was when I was drinking real heavy. Um, and I was like, well, yeah, I'm in therapy. You know, I was taking classes at the time for stuff like anger management, shit like that. You know, past year I took every fucking mental class you could take. I did therapy, literally to the point where my therapist is like, I can't do anything else with you. Um, did everything she asked. I did it reluctantly. I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't want to give up the bottle. But I eventually did everything she fucking asked me to do. But yeah, but the part that made me mad was she said, um, "Oh, and by the way, his dad raped him. He's just lying about it. We all know, everyone in the family knows his dad raped him and his brothers." Just randomly throws that in there. And this is the part where it made me mad. It pissed me off because, it pissed me off because I'm not the boy who cried wolf. I would never say anything that didn't happen to me because there's actual real victims that he actually fucking ruined. Perhaps there's a chance that he ruins their life with what he did to them. And that's the part that makes me mad, is that something really bad actually happened to someone. Fact. And I don't know, it just made me mad because it's like there's real people out there that it happened to, and you're saying that it happened to me, and it just didn't. Like, the man is in a cage like an animal. He's going to die alone in that cage, either by another inmate and or just die of old age. I could care less. Honestly, the way I look at it, I look at him as a sick animal that needs to be put down. Um, and that'll happen in the long run. But for me to just have I don't know. I wouldn't lie about something like that when there's actual real victims who actually suffered. I wouldn't lie about it. Um, I don't know. It made me mad. Those were the two instances though in my life to where the rape word was thrown out there. Um, and the morals of these stories is basically on the news and shit. You see it all the fucking time that they're trying to change the definition of rape. And it irritates me and makes me mad. Like, not that I would, but if I catcalled a girl, they're considering it rape. If I looked at a girl the wrong way, it's rape. If I, you know, asked to, if I commented on a girl like, hey, you're cute, whatever, it's considered rape. Like, and a lot of these girls, that get drunk and bang some dude in college and then regret it the next morning, literally ruining his life, calling him a rapist. Like, you realize these men are getting thrown in prison because you feel dirty the next morning because you drank too much and you feel dirty, so you're like, well, fuck it, I'll just say you raped me. Um, I just think the word is being thrown out there too lightly and too loosely, and it's a sword, man. That's a harsh word that has consequences, legal consequences. It can ruin someone's life, and those were two of the instances of what happened with me in my personal life, um, that I just wanted to share. I wanted to make an episode on it. Um, I honestly don't even know what to title this episode. Like rape culture or something, I guess is the word they're using now. Rape culture. Who
I don't
knows?
know.
What do I even fucking title this episode?
I don't know.
But I don't know. I'm gonna wrap it up though. Do you have any comments, Boo?
Don't falsely accuse people just because you felt uncomfortable or ashamed because you made a choice that you weren't comfortable with yet.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice. I try to have your input. Yeah, I know you were sleepy earlier.
You're okay.
But yeah, that's about it.
Oh, and I
Welcome.
hate social justice warriors.
You hate social justice warriors?
Yes.
Same. Agreed.
I am a
Wholeheartedly.
female, and I do not like social justice warriors.
Well, on that note, that's why I love you, man. We're gonna wrap it up though. Sorry if this wasn't a conspiracy. I do plan on making definitely. I have a shit ton of podcasts planned for conspiracy stuff. I got some on Loch Ness that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put out there, so that'll be cool. I've actually never really delved into Loch Ness Monster, so for me, it's a learning experience, and for you, we can do this adventure into cryptozoology together. Uh, Sorry this episode was a little dark. I hope you guys enjoyed it still. I hope you hung in there. There's more to come, and we will catch you all later. Y'all have a good day.